Alright, it's the home stretch. I just picked up my junk bucket and the side broke right off. What do you think about that? Luckily the water was only an inch above it, so it wasn't too much of a flood. Ceramic tile is resilient. It's made in America, as are the products that are used in conjunction with it. Maybe I should have been a singer. So I'm going to set the camera, I suppose, right over there, and I can't see what you're looking at. I just got to guess by the direction of the lens. As I've noticed in videos, piss on Jap scraps, building Cummins-powered Chevy trucks. Saw a guy today. I went to get a hydraulic hose fixed on my plow T-Ruck. I got a couple of fittings to better aim the hose where it belongs. And whilst I was there, a fellow pulls up in a pretty brand new Cummins crew cab. And I was busy screwing on some fittings. $20. 2 fittings and some holes. $2 a foot. Go to tomorrow. Anyways, I asked him, I said, "Hey, nice Cummins T-Ruck." He said, "Motor's great, truck sucks." And I wish I would have had the camera going. Of course, you never know what people are going to say when you comment out of the blue. So I asked him, I said, "What's wrong? Truck's a piece of junk?" Closed the door, cranked her up, and drove away. And then a couple minutes later, another Cummins went by, a pretty new one with some nice chrome stacks out the bed. Of course, I didn't have the camera going. I wasn't going to show you every single thing that I do. I wouldn't want to bore you to death. Yep, Cummins makes a good motor. What did he say? Truck's kind of cheesy, I think he said, which could mean a lot of things to a lot of different people. I think my sponge is too wet. There, you can see the bucket. It's amazing what YouTube has done. Like cell phones. People asked, "What'd you do 20 years ago before cell phones?" I've had a cell phone since probably late 1990 or early 91. Got a cell phone just after the Motorola brick phones. I got the first Nokia palm-sized or pocket phone. And what'd you do before cell phones? You had to borrow someone's phone. "Do you mind if I use your phone for a minute?" I used to go into stores. Used to stop when I was on the job. I'd be driving somewhere. I'd stop somewhere, go into a store, and use a payphone. Those are usually cold in the winter, so I'd go into a store and maybe buy something and use the phone for a minute. So annoying. I knew that the cell phones were a coming thing because my dad, who was a real estate agent for many years, I believe he had a mobile phone in his car in 1973. 17 years before me, probably 15 years before the cell phone. He had a mobile phone, and I even remember his phone number. And you can't search this thing on the internet, nothing's going to show up. Of course, I suppose you could try. JL42872 was his phone number. And even though the phone that was attached to the car, there was a big box in the trunk that was attached to the hump. He drove a Cadillac. You couldn't dial the phone. You had to pick it up and press 0 or whatever you did, or dial. You had a dial, actually. It didn't have press buttons. It actually was a dial on the floor, mounted gizmo. And he would actually ask the operator to bring up the number for him. And there weren't that many phones around, just a few hundred probably. So much like the switchboard of yesteryear, and even NCR disabled isn't old enough to remember the switchboards. I certainly don't. But yeah, my dad had a phone in his car back in 1973. And who knows what his phone bill was. Back then the phone companies had a monopoly on everything. It was them or nothing. You couldn't even buy a phone without that had a ringer in it. The only phones you could buy were the ones that didn't have the ringer. The ringer was disabled. Extension phones. These were pretty crazy. I remember we went to New York City back in the mid-70s. My dad wanted to buy an extension phone for our house. Because back then the phone company rented you a phone, $2 a month, whatever the charge was. Back then it was a lot of money. A Cadillac was $10,000. Go buy a Cadillac for $10,000 now. I'm talking the early 70s. Anyways, the We were in a store in New York City, somewhere in Manhattan probably. And we went into the store, and my father asked us to one of their phones, and he asked the guy to make it ring, because he knew that you couldn't have phones that rang. He thought maybe in the big city they'd get away with stuff. So anyways, I was walking around the store doing my window shopping as a teenager, and all of a sudden I hear a phone ring, and I saw my father shake the phone to make sure the phone he had in his hand was actually the one ringing. And I thought, that's really odd. The phone's ringing, my dad's shaking it, but the ring isn't changing. What the clerk had done is he was ringing another phone in the store, hoping my dad would fall for it and buy this phone that he had in his hand, thinking it was a ringing phone, when in fact it wasn't, because you weren't allowed to sell phones that had a ringer. Or whatever the law was. Maybe Radio Wild could chime in. Pun. This is the kind of job I think I should be coming back. Oh, look at that, a ladybug just fell on the floor. Remember ladybug? They kind of crackle when they hit the floor. Snap! They're noisy for little guys. I think I should be hitting this with a dryer sponge. Or maybe do it in a couple hours. I ain't doing that. It's after 8 o'clock at night and I've had it. Of course, I don't get here till 3, 4, 5 o'clock sometimes. Mrs. CW is on the verge of buying an Acura. I left the house. She was talking to a guy in Sarasota, Florida about a baby blue Acura MDX 2002. And it's too bad that we couldn't have the car checked, because her nephew, who lives near Orlando, Kissimmee, where I go to visit once a year, we'll be going there in the spring. Anyways, her nephew was just in Sarasota. And he just came back the day we called him. Too bad. He would have gone to look at that MDX, I'm sure. He looked at another one for us that was 5 minutes from where he lived. And we sent the guy $150 deposit. That's all I had in my PayPal. The guys were kind of, I wouldn't call them shady, but I just couldn't figure them out. Anyways, I sold to somebody else, so had a beautifully rebuilt transmission. Had 210,000 miles. This one has 130, and the guy's asking 78, and it's not negotiable. He said he had been asking 92 for it. Well, I saw it for 92. I called him and said, your 02 Acura isn't worth 92. It had 70 or 80,000 miles maybe, but not with 130 and no record of a timing belt being changed. So I went to the MDX forum, MDXer, to inquire. Thanks for watching the video. I'm rambling on. To inquire how much it costs to change a timing belt. I called the local Acura dealer, and they said the whole 105,000 mile service is $1,700. Water pump, idler, serpentine belt, timing belt, spark plugs, oil change, yada yada yada. Whatever the 105,000 mile service is was $1,700. $1,700. So I called a friend of mine that used to work for the local Honda dealership, and he said that it's a 5-hour job, and the guys at MDX said it's 7 or 8 hours, because they're not pros. They got to struggle and hold things in place, so it's slower, but it's a full day job. So I'm thinking I'll pay somebody $60 an hour. Oops, I just got the ladybug. I'm going to sneeze. Achoo! At least that works. So, 6 hours of labor, 7 hours of labor times $60 an hour. Maybe I'll have my buddy in Palm Beach. He's got a V8 Corvair. I made a video of him in Jacksonville a couple of years ago. Maybe I'll have him do it. He probably charges $75, $80 an hour. So, $200 in parts. According to the Acura dealer, the belt, timing belt, serpentine belt, water pump, idler. Once you're in there, you just change it all. On the MDX forum, one guy was asking, why should I change everything? Isn't that a waste of a good part that may be working well and still has 50,000 miles left? But they said, yeah, maybe the belt is due for a change, but if the other parts last 50,000 more miles and you blow something up, and you blow your whole engine. So it's just one of those things. It's like if 2 of your tires are totally worn and 2 of them are in good shape, you just change them all 4. You don't be a cheapskate and only change 2. That's not a good analogy, but it's just one of those things. You take the thing apart and you change everything that's in there at the same time. The idler, all the belts. I'm not sure whatever else is in there. 1 idler, 2 idlers. In any case, it's $200 right from Acura for the parts. So we'll see. My wife was negotiating with the guy when I left the house at 3:30. And maybe she came to an agreement. She said, I'm not paying $7,800. I said, listen, if you don't pay the money, you won't get it. Acura MDXs are hot. It'll sell to somebody else, especially with 130 as opposed to some of them have 180,000 miles, 200. There's plenty of those with high miles. Pay the price. You want it? You want a blue one? You gotta pay the price. They're hard to find. Lots of silver ones, but the blue is nice with a black leather interior. I guess I gotta let this sit for a while. I'm gonna turn the heater on here. There's a heater built into this fan. Some heat in this bathroom. 10 minutes, 30 seconds. Boy, can I talk. I let it dry for a bit. I'll go dump this water with my cracked bucket. Baked Cheetos. 2 fresh packs enclosed. You want to get fat? You want to be a babushka? Eat baked Cheetos. Pure fat. Baked or otherwise. There's my list of things I have to get tomorrow. Solder, chimney cement, 2x4s, trailer, and magnetic chimney temperature. Huh. Temperature's going down here. What's the thermometer say? It says 74 degrees, 24 Celsius. Boy, that pile of wood in the garage is going down. Never believe how much wood a wood stove eats up. Fuel, yep, gone. Did you hear that sizzle when I touched the wood stove door with my hand? Yeah, these little 3-inch, 2-inch, 3-inch twigs go fast. They're good and dry. They've been sitting there for at least 10 years. I know you can't see much. Oh, I forgot to open the flue. More chimney smoke inside the house. How's our flypaper doing? Get any more customers? Yep. 4. Got them. There were 3 when I last left. Now there's 1 more up there. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. All right. Getting dark. The sun will be up if I stay here any longer. Yeah, it's a reflection of me. It's not Jesus Christ. Oh, you're great. You love watching my videos, and I love making them. Too long it takes so long to put them on the bloody computer. Goodbye. See you in a bit. Wait for the floor to dry a little bit. Thanks for watching.